Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Be sure to check out the Right Time YouTube channel. Lots of exclusive YouTube-only content right there at the Right Time YouTube channel. Go check that out. In the meantime, it is Fridays with Spencer Hall. Spencer Hall, what's going on?
You're looking at it. It's Halloween. If you got Halloween and you got kids, there's the dual joy of, oh my gosh, they get to have a really fun day where they wear a costume. And then there's the downside of, I have a diva and the costume is not exactly right. And therefore, there is a crisis. We have a problem at 6:15 in the morning because we do not have the exact amount and correct shade of fake blood to put on things. This is why I hate holidays. I hate it because, on every other day of the year, do you know what I don't have to deal with? This.
And so your kids are like double-digit age at this point. I don't remember when I was double-digit age that we were still wearing costumes to school. For whatever it's worth, I am not too cool for a costume. It's just not my idea of a good time. This is like, I don't know when I got to the point that I realized, there were adults who were really, really into Halloween. And not just because it makes certain attire socially appropriate that they wish they could wear other times. No, they were just really, really, really into Halloween. But I feel bad for you guys that got these kids because I feel like Instagram done completely messed the game up on anything that could ever possibly involve a photograph, right? Like 100% totally, like kind of how LeBron has completely messed up Take Your Son to Work Day, right? Now that they got the photographs out of that, nobody else can ever compete with playing that game. But the Halloween, like I was just looking down at my man Marv worked on Dan Patrick's show, used to work with me at ESPN. His 11-year-old son dressed as Bruno Mars in the like red silk short set with the hat. And I'm like, damn, that look expensive. You didn't have to do it like this back in the day.
No. And, you didn't have to do things like, for instance, at one point in our pasts, you were 10, 11, you stopped wearing a costume and you went to vandalism. That was it. Halloween was about 2 things: begging for sugar until you were 11 from strangers. And then at one point, there was an unspoken conversation. Everybody got together and it was like, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to engage in light vandalism. You're going to break the law a little bit. And I feel like we've eliminated an important part of the chain from the cycle of begging for sugar, light vandalism, and heavy drinking. That's really what Halloween should be in terms of progression from children to adolescence to adulthood. We've extended the childhood part of it, which is fine. It means there's less toilet paper to clean out of the trees of my yard. But it does also mean I got to come up with 2 costumes for longer. And I will tell you, in a fully booked adult schedule, I do not have the resources, right? I am that meme clip here, okay? We do not possess the capacity, okay? We simply do not have the capacity for that, which is why I was at Spirit Halloween buying something out of a bag yesterday that it turns out not even to fit that well. But you're like, take it, kid. There you go. You're a prisoner with a terrible tailor, right? That's what you are right now. Enjoy.
Yo, the light vandalism part is so interesting. Yesterday, I was watching First Take, and Stephen A. Smith told a story about how one Halloween, him and the partners was out egging people. And I don't know exactly how this wound up happening, but if I heard him correctly, he threw an egg and the egg hit a woman, and the woman was his mother. He described it as the last ass whooping that he ever received. I can't figure out what kind of people egging it was that they were doing that would ever lead to you. I don't know how that happened, right? You guys made a series of terrible decisions that led to you actually egging your own mother. But can you imagine the terror of you throw the egg and you hit somebody, which I didn't know you was throwing eggs at people by and large. But you throw the egg and you hit somebody, and then the reveal is that it's your mom. And this is in the 70s or 80s when there was a completely different paradigm for child rearing.
Oh, yeah. Because the flip side to this is if you have 70s style light vandalism, where you can just go out and egg things, you can go out and behave in an antisocial manner that was considered, relatively acceptable or totally unacceptable by today's terms. If that's you, that means you have 70s style parenting meeting you on the other side. That's the deal we cut, right? You're like, oh, sure, you have this much, but you receive this much on the other end. I do not want to imagine the wrath of that mother hit by that particular egg. There is another thing, too, that we need to get straight about Halloween that we didn't have when I was growing up, and that's they cut off streets now. So they'll cut off a whole block. They'll say, okay, well, this block will do it, and everybody will be here, and you can just walk in the street. That's cool. These kids will never enjoy the danger, the sheer threat of wearing a dark costume on a dark evening and potentially being hit by cars, probably coming from Halloween parties, maybe not totally sober, right? We've taken the danger out of Halloween. That's largely a good thing, but they'll never know the exhilaration of, am I about to be killed in this G.I. Joe costume by a guy doing 27 miles an hour in a Dodge Dart heading the wrong way down the road?
That is true. Now, would you like a couple of Halloween stories from the city of Atlanta in the 1990s?
Speaking of intrigue, I would love it.
That's a tease. Mm-hmm. One of them, I was not firsthand for. I knew this dude. I think his name was Miko. But man, one of my listeners here knows who I'm talking about. He came into school we helped. I can't remember his name, but he lived in the Carver Homes. Or he grew up in the Carver Homes, as I recall. I have not thought about this gentleman in at least 25 years, okay? But I remember somehow in a conversation with him, and I did not have very many of them. No shade, I just didn't know him that well. But he was telling some story about in Carver Home on Halloween, people not simply throwing eggs, but frozen eggs, which seemed to me to go like way past the point of mischief and like vandalism into a felonious assault. That seems, but to me, incredibly dangerous in a project. Like, I don't mean to make too many assumptions about the people there. I know a lot of them are fine and law abiding, but I know a lot of them also fuck you up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would not do that. I would also be sure not to do this. If the house is dark, don't go up to it. No. Don't say, well, no, maybe I saw a light on. Kids will do that. If you're out with them, they'll go, oh no, I saw a light. Because, in their head, candy mania kicks. And they're like, every house, I can get candy at every house. And even if they're not, I can go up to them. They'll probably have candy. Don't do that, because we went up to one house once and knocked. No response, no nothing, lights dark. And I thought, friend, we should move on. My friend's like, no, we're getting candy out of this house. Knock, 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 knock. We knock on it, and they're some kind of, I don't know, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, somebody who does not believe in Halloween, is in fact anti-Halloween, and does not want to participate. Cool, that's your thing. Not according to my friend, who, when we were told this, looks up and goes, well, that's gotta suck. And you're like, no, just trying to pull them off the porch before we get the biblical revenge I expect from such insolence. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. And I agree. Although you're doing it, you're like, yeah, that does have to suck, man. Because you know what? I got this bag full of full-size Snickers because we hit the good houses, and they give the big candy.
Yes. Now, I will give you another story. This is a firsthand one. As many of you know, I am an alumnus of Clark Atlanta University. When I was in school, the projects were still standing, the university homes. And when I say when I say we went to school in the projects, I mean the view directly across the street from my dorm freshman year was university homes. They was right there. And so it was my freshman year, and some girl that I thought was the baddest thing I had ever seen up until that point in my life, right? I'm not talking about I had the biggest crush. No, I thought she was the baddest thing on earth. I once watched her stop traffic. Literally stop traffic. Anyway, she called herself some kind of back giver or whatever. And she was doing some event in the homes for the kids. Mm-hmm. And so we went there to help out. With me and a couple homies went in there to help her out with what was going on with the kids at the projects, do a little Halloween thing or whatever. Now, I think I told you about this, but very recently I read a book called The Disappearance of Childhood by Neil Postman, where he just kind of talked about how over the years, and because of the accessibility of television, we have basically stopped treating children like children and just treat them like little bitty adults. Mm-hmm. And I see all kinds of things now that give me like, oh, that's really what this is. And now I realize the first time this happened is I was 17 years old, and we were there for the Halloween shindig and the projects. And then somebody, for whatever reason, was like time to play some music, and they started playing some Luke and Spencer. I'm telling you, they was 8 years old doing it. Little dudes was taking their shirts off. Like literally the music came on, took their shirts off and getting behind the girls that was out here like somewhere between Patra and one of them girls in the loop. It was the wildest thing I had ever seen in the world. And I was like, how come these kids ain't got no costumes? Like at that point, it dawned on me that this wasn't even really Halloween. And I get it, man. They ain't got no money for costumes. But if you ain't got no costume, is it actually Halloween?
Evidently, yeah. Because today we're going to dress up like we're adults, even though we have no idea what the implications or meaning of any of these things are. Yeah,
man. I got some friends that throw a Halloween party every year. They didn't throw the Halloween party this year. I haven't been to the Halloween party since the COVID hit. But anyway, I don't really like. I be forgetting about these costumes. I don't just really be having that on deck as a thing to do. So the last costume I wore, I just took one of my spoke coat. I took my navy blue spoke coat, turned that thing inside out, and called myself the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It ain't even have no lining in it though.
I could just do. I think at one point as an adult, you settle into. I have a costume and I wear it, and that's what I do. I think if I ever have to do anything again, I'm just going to be Poseidon. I'm just going to be Neptune. That's it, and that's easy. You just wear a toga, you get a little fork, right, and maybe you have a fish or something on you. You have something to indicate that it's nautical. Mm-hmm. That's all. I can do Poseidon. That's about it. Some people really enjoy dressing up, and I appreciate that. But I also want you to know how much you're fucking up the rest of my day because, first of all, there's an expectation on me, and I really don't like that. Second of all, Halloween's not my idea. Do you want to know why I don't like holidays? It's not my idea. That's really it. Like when somebody goes, oh, man, you're just old and crotchety, or you're a killjoy, you're a Scrooge when it comes to Christmas. No, when it comes to Christmas, it comes to all of them. It's not my idea. I didn't put it on the calendar. Therefore, I kind of hate it.
You guys that like really get into costumes, I got to tell you, y'all driving the price sky high.
Driving the price up.
Y'all driving the cable bill sky. Like I say, and again, Instagram, especially for the people that's in relationships, Instagram done completely flipped the game up because there ain't nothing that your lady like more than a cute photograph. Any excuse for a cute photograph, it's not being missed. It's not being missed, especially a cute photograph that you can show to all your friends and a handful of strangers.
And also, by the way, taking a bite out of something else. I don't care. What were you doing? Could have been doing something else other than putting that costume together. That's it. I know. And somebody else is paying for that. And I don't mean financially. I just mean in terms of time. I mean, somebody else is picking up the other end of that thing. Okay.
Yeah. And it's hard to back out of a matching get up. Like I had talked about this on the Anderson Pot concert review. Me and Sean, when we was at Hollywood and Highland, we saw this couple, and it was very clear that this man was wearing some crochet shorts and a crochet hat, and the woman had on a crochet hat and a crochet skirt. That it was very clear they matched each other, and it was very clear that she made. Abundantly clear that she made. Now, let me tell you, I saw her in that skirt, and I'd have wore whatever she told me, right?
Yeah.
But it was definitely not his idea.
And this is one of those things where I get like, if that brings you great joy, help me along with it. I will more than happily be your accomplice in that. I will never initiate it. The holidays that I actually enjoy, the things that I actually treasure, all right? Food. That's why Thanksgiving is a great holiday. Because what do? You can cook. That's it, right? Maybe get a little smoke on, have a drink, sit in the kitchen all day long, right? Maybe later we'll play cards and watch football. Perfect holiday. Okay. The expectations are this. I'm going to do what I normally did on a day, but do it big. Because I'm normally going to eat, but today we're going to eat, capital E. And then in addition to that, I get to watch football and hang out with people I love. That's great. That's awesome, right? Do you even have to be sober for it? Preferably not. That's awesome. You know what the other great holiday is? July 4th. Because I'm a super patriotic American? No, because you get to blow a bunch of shit up. Yes. That's it. That's awesome. The food holiday and the one where you get to blow stuff up. That's awesome. The rest of it, negotiable at best.
I feel like, though, as a father, you have come to appreciate Christmas because you do enjoy nailing Christmas.
Yeah. I try not to be the like, I think a lot of people approach Christmas with this kind of combat thing where they go, I'm going to get the perfect gift. Don't do that. Ask somebody what they want. I like that. If they ask for what they want and they're not in a position to purchase it for themselves because they're 8, that's pretty cool, right? Or if you remembered, I like this. The move for adults is this. I remembered something you said in April. Ooh, I really like that thing. I remembered it back in April. Write it down. buy it, sit on it, don't do anything. I liked that too, because that's the expression of something that somebody wanted. Don't buy something where you go, I think I know what they'd like. No, don't do that. Take the mystery out of it. Do not do that. Disappointment's waiting for you.
And don't pretend for a moment that, oh, I like that thing was just randomly dropped. Nope. It was dropped for you to write down.
Nope. You just got to know when to pick it up. Yeah. But I do like that. Christmas is great because kids get the stuff and they really enjoy it. And then guess what you get to do the rest of the time? You get to kind of like hide in wrapping paper. You can kind of just fade into the background. Just, ooh, cool. I'm going to watch a movie that I've seen 400 times for the 401st time on television.
You know, I generally dig holidays because why not, right? Oh, excuse for a good time. But again, single man, no kids. Like, I don't have to look at this in the same context that somebody like yourself has to.
Though you do get this. You get to be Uncle Bo.
I do.
You get to drop in. And dropping in is great because you know what you always are? You're the guest host that on the show, when they open the door, the crowd goes, yay, right?
Yes.
You're not the guy. You don't have to be the one who sometimes gets applause and then sometimes gets blamed for breakfast not being like, you know,
that is correct,
on time, or for the gift not being perfect. Yeah.
That is correct. Nah, like you can, like, I generally, you got a holiday, I'm willing to rock with it, right? Like, people happy for whatever reason there is to be happy. New Year's Eve, if you say so, like, I just can't, it's not. And the biggest problem, of course, with New Year's Eve is this. If you don't think it's a big thing, you either need to kick it by yourself or like get married, because it is a really big thing to everybody else. And the idea of bringing in a new year with whoever the person happens to be, which feels rather arbitrary to me, and I just don't demarcate life like that. It's not how it works for other people. It's just not how it goes. Like where this means more than it has to in a continuing fashion. Yeah.
Yeah, most of life isn't for you. That's the big lesson here is when you go, man, who enjoys this? Someone, not you.
Yes.
A whole lot of other someones, though. Sometimes you got to play along with that. Also, New Year's is now a working holiday for me because there's always a football game on. So that's right. Great. Somebody will text me Happy New Year, and I'll text back, Ole Miss is down 17 in the Georgia Dome, right? Like, that was 1 year before the Georgia Dome was demolished. You know, you're like, yeah, they're playing there. Sorry, that's what I'm doing. Sorry, that's my thing.
Had not quite thought of it in that context, but it makes perfect sense. Like, Happy Rose Bowl Day is what you think they should be saying.
That's Happy Rose Bowl Day because it's the first, baby. That's it. That's way more of a holiday for me, right?
Yes.
Take that, Stephen Godfrey. Rose Bowl's delightful. It's wonderful. Everyone should go.
I love the Rose Bowl. I love how everything that has changed with college football, every adaptation, the Rose Bowl is like, yeah, but look here. We're going to give you this sunset. I mean, I guess there was the couple years where they took it off, right? And they made it the championship game and they put it at night. But they're like, nah, baby, let's get back to this sunset, huh?
Yeah. Why don't you look at how beautiful this grass is? Did we grow it here? Stop asking questions. We definitely didn't truck it in from 800 miles away where they can grow grass like this. But look, it's here. It's the Disney Stadium, man. And you know the thing about the Disney Stadium? It looks like a Disney movie. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's the best place to watch a football game. I'm real sorry that's true, but it is.
I still say the idea that what's the event here? Celebrating roses. It's a rose contest.
It was not until late in this century that the ratings for the actual Rose Bowl surpassed those of the Rose Bowl parade. I believe they're about here right now. Yeah, they're about equal. But for the longest time, the thing that got the most ratings and the most viewers was the Rose Bowl parade. Yeah, you mean like where they a bunch of like grandmas like have a garden and they put it on wheels and they roll it down the boulevard? Yeah, that was it. When you were a volunteer in Pasadena, if you were involved with the Rose Bowl, the prestige gig was the parade. The actual football game, those people didn't care. They're like, I don't know, I guess they do this football thing. The flowers were the thing for a really, really long time.
Yeah, the game is really just a pilgrimage from those yokels from the old country, the Midwest, where all these white people in California came from originally.
That's right. That's right. They're like, well, geez, you know, Jan, we'll get a bunch of roses together. It'll be real pretty. We'll like it. Because, you know, there's seasons where we came from. So we'll act like there's seasons here. There's not.
It'll be good to see the sun again. Haven't seen the sun in a long time.
That's how I know somebody is either from the Midwest. They're like, oh, it's really nice there. They've got sun. This is my favorite argument for people when they go, "Oh, it's really nice. There's a lot of sunshine." Is it? Is it, Jan? It's the big burning ball of gas that gives everyone cancer. And we've got nothing but sunshine because I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
The Big Ten is just trying to go to California and go to Florida. That's the goal of the whole season for a very long time is let's go get a few days somewhere south.
Let's get some vitamin D because we're all seasonally depressed. And then you can move down here where you don't have to pay as many taxes. And then you can be seasonally depressed from too much sunshine. It's entirely possible.
Hey, brother, let me tell you something. Today, as we record, it is a high in New York City of 79 degrees.
Yeah, who needs it? Who needs? You can just stay right there.
I can't believe that I am becoming the person that I'm going to describe, but I'm looking forward to a little crisp in the air. I went and bought some stuff. You know what I'm saying?
This is now it's fall, so I can really start dressing. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet, because it's going to be 80 degrees.
I don't even really want to really dress. I just want to wear stuff that make me feel good, like a hoodie. It make me feel like somebody love me, right? Like that's the part that I want. I kind of want to curl up and stuff.
This is where I can't get you to believe in global warming because of science or doing the right thing for other people, but I might be able to convince you on the basis of I'd like to wear the stuff in my closet. That's really... That's really, I think, the pivot we have to make, Bo, in this whole pitch about being a more responsible citizen of the earth is to go, wouldn't you like to use that $700 overcoat that's just hanging in your closet?
Right. Wouldn't you like to see that woman in a sweater dress?
Everyone would like to see women in sweater dresses, and that includes women. That's it. That's it. That's who you're dressing for anyway. You're not dressing for me. You're mostly dressing for other women.
Yeah, that's correct. As we have been told many times over, but yes.
Not about you. Again, correct. This is not about you. It's not about you. It's about, have you seen this fit? I look fantastic. And someone's going to go, you look fantastic. And it's going to be the right person, not a man, generally, right?
Yes. Well, I will say that we gave the people who needed it a proper holiday rundown because as they hear this, they will be recovering from what Halloween was. Bo Jones care. If don't nobody else care, we'll be back to talk about most stuff after the break. The NBA is officially back, which means you can turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite teams only on Prize Picks. You can make a Prize Picks lineup between the NFL and the NBA in as little as 60 seconds. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. But rather than hearing it from me, let's hear from somebody who uses Prize Picks. Sean, how the picks been going for you?
Bo, it's been nice to have the NBA back and to add a little more variety to my picks. Plus, Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesdays each Tuesday. So Prize Picks discounts, you can select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups.
There we go. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Life doesn't happen bi-weekly, so why should payday? The money you earn can be in your hands today with EarnIn. EarnIn is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work up to $100 per day and up to $750 per pay period. So if you need a last-minute birthday present, a new outfit, or even an upcoming event you want to go to, EarnIn is the best way to pay for those things. Just download the EarnIn app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. Sean, tell the audience how easy it is to sign up.
Make EarnIn a part of your financial routine and join EarnIn's over 4 million customers who say things like, when I think about EarnIn, I think about financial stability, security, gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download EarnIn today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. And when you download the EarnIn app, type in the right time with Bomani Jones under podcast. When you sign up, it'll really help the show. The Right Time with Bomani Jones under the podcast. Earnin is a financial technical company, not a bank. Cash outs are based on your available earnings. Standard cash outs take 1 to 2 business days with no mandatory fees. Option to expedite your transfer for a fee. Tips are voluntary and don't affect the service. See the cash out user agreement for details. Services not available in all states.
Now, Spencer, we could talk about a little college football. I figured we could wait. This isn't actually the greatest college football week necessarily, though. I just do want to point out very briefly the number 3 team and the number 4 team in America are playing against each other for 2 fan bases that each think their coach stinks.
This is why we're continually moving toward being the English Premier League, because in the EPL, they'll say, yeah, how's your team doing? You go, yeah, we're 3rd on the tables, mate. It's great. And then they'll go, how's your manager? And they're like, we'd kill him. We would throw him into the ocean if we could. That's still where we are in college football, and I think where we're moving. Ryan Day is, I think, 62-9 or 63-9 as a head coach. I've lost track of what week it is, but it's the most unsatisfying single loss record in all of college football because they can't run on 4th and 1. And they know it. They know they can't run on 4th and 1. And there's a reason for that. And the actual reason, boring football content here, but it's necessary. Nobody can build an offensive line anymore. Nobody can build a 4-year offensive line where you go, this person's been playing next to this person for 3 years, and they know exactly what they're supposed to do. Nobody can do that anymore. Ohio State didn't have an entire side of the right line coming into the season. Injuries have only made that worse. So now they're a team that has to rely on all these skill players they have, and they can't run the ball. And that is, if you're looking for hope for Penn State in this game, despite everything that Penn State is, which is the team that comes into this and loses 24-17. That's pretty much what they are under James Franklin. They're a 10-2 team that can't get over your Michigan and your Ohio State. This might be the year when, due to injuries and everything, they might catch that because they can actually run the ball a little bit and they can play a little bit of defense. And they've got some tools on offense and they have something. They got Kansas's offensive coordinator, Bo. And the thing that happened with that is this: you have to be a little creative when you're at Kansas. So they got a guy,
Yes.
Andy Kotelnicki, who is a little creative. And most of the time we give coaches too much credit. I want to properly credit Andy Kotelnicki for installing a little bit of the kind of creativity that a team that isn't as good as Ohio State has to beat Ohio State. That's really they've got that. And if they keep their nerve and they manage to just button things down and get into the 4th quarter, that could be the little edge that makes a difference here.
Ryan Day, 63-9, the wrong 9.
It's the wrong
It's
9.
like it's about you don't have to get the right 63, but it can't be the wrong 9.
Ohio State fans aren't wrong, all right? They might be repellent. They might be deranged, but they're the right kind of deranged because they say we shouldn't lose those 9. And realistically, you shouldn't. You've lost to Michigan teams that don't have as much talent as you. Why?
So is he like the coaching equivalent of what JT Barrett was for them? It was probably like 2nd or 3rd best quarterback they've ever had, but wasn't good enough, and we knew it. And they're not wrong about that.
I think they're not wrong about that. Barrett might be the quarterback equivalent. To me, there's very much a born on third base element with Ryan Day that they think he inherited all of this, right?
Yes.
There's an Alabama quarterback parallel when you say, man, that quarterback's great. And you go, who was he throwing to? Who is he protected by? Who did he hand off to? Right? He is less than the sum of it. He's less than the sum of his parts. And they know at Ohio State that institutionally they go, he's 62-9. Someone else could have been 62-9.
Anybody can go 63-9 here.
And they're not entirely wrong. They're not. Now, they could have hired people who would have messed it up and not gone 62-9 or whatever, right? But at the same time, there are other guys who could have posted a similar record. And maybe they could run the ball, Bo. That's what's in their head the whole time. Maybe they could have beaten Michigan that one time.
And on the other side is Penn State. And look, there are a lot of reasons to not be happy with James Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
I find Penn State fans don't pick the right ones, but they typically go there. There's all kinds of ways that he could just make you uncomfortable. They did one of those last week. That was so weird, where if you have not seen this, they had a couple players that kicked off the team this summer for undisclosed reasons. It turned out that they were accused of sexual assault. They had been indicted. And they did this weird thing where James Franklin was at the podium, and so they put out a statement. And somebody asked him a question. He would walk away from the podium, and then the SID would come on and say that they're not answering any questions. And then James Franklin would walk around from the back like he just got there. Hi, guys. And I just want to know who cooked that shit up.
James did, because he's very bad at handling these things and has always been bad at handling them. And I think maybe more uncomfortably and problematically so if you go back and look at Vanderbilt, because there was a case also involving sexual assault at Vanderbilt that James Franklin mishandled badly. And I think I'm putting it very gently in that case. But that's not the reason that Penn State fans are unhappy with him. They're unhappy with him because he can't beat Ohio State. And he can't get them over the hump. He's a 10-2 coach. And 10-2, we'll call that the Mullen line because he's the one who's pointed this out. The Mullen line is that line between 10 and 11 wins. And that he has said repeatedly that 10 wins is attainable for a lot of people in college football, 9-10 wins. The 11th, getting to the 11th means that you have beaten that team in your conference. It means that you beat that team. And you might have lost another one along the way, but generally if you get 11, it means you're in that top 10, legit top 10, top 8 teams in the country when you're talking about talent and management and organization and everything. And Penn State's always just missing one or other of those things. We're also talking about all of this, by the way, in a matchup where Ohio State still has, if you go, hey, maybe you guys just throw to Jeremiah Smith and all those receivers like 30 times. That might work, man. That might work. Those might not even be close. But at the same time, they're also that team that is currently in a quarterback struggle right now, injury-wise, because it's Drew Aller got hurt in the last game. Bo Prabula, who's their backup quarterback, he looked fine. I don't know if Fine's going to do it against that defense, against Ohio State's defense. So I don't know. There's one other thing here, too, that we talk about schedule-wise. This game could have been a night game. But because of Big Noon Saturday picking it up and making it their brand game, now they have to play this thing in daylight. And playing a game that dirty and physical under the glare of the sun and in full public view of everything feels wrong. It needs to be at night. Should be a whiteout. Should be like this super intimidating environment. And now it's just going to be another loud Big Ten game. That feels wrong.
Well, Penn State is one of these programs that has a history that indicates to them that they should be a certain level of good without having what I would consider to be a single legitimate institutional advantage over the people that you want to be better than.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And in one of those places that I got to tell you, my black ass don't want to live there. I can't speak for anybody else, but I wouldn't.
They had a bit of an advantage in the sense that I think Joe Paterno was more welcoming to black players earlier than some of his cohorts.
Yes.
That. All right. And they had that advantage for a while. That's evaporated. Now it's just country. It's in the middle of nowhere. Right. It is the one Big Ten. It's like one of the spots that I've never been to. You know why? Because when you're planning a weekend and trying to get back in 2 days, it's damn near impossible. When you're talking
it's
about
so hard to get there.
It's really hard to get to. I've been to the West Coast for football games with fewer logistical hurdles than I have going to State College. Now, if you're ESPN, by the way, nice little thing you can do. You take the plane in, if you get the charter, and it goes right next to the stadium. Now, that's cool because there's an airstrip right next to the stadium. You know what else that says? We had to build an airstrip next to the stadium.
Yes.
That's how isolated it is.
It's a really sneaky thing about the SEC, but it's also a sneaky thing about the Big Ten. The Big Ten doesn't have a lot of miserable places. Like the Big 12's got at least the old Big 12. I can't remember where everybody is anymore, but the old Big 12 had a handful of misery. Pac-12 had a little handful of misery for you. The SEC had Starkville, and now it has College Station, but it doesn't have a lot of, what am I supposed to be doing here? The Big Ten quietly just has State College.
Mm-hmm. Even College Station, that's just between things, right? You can get there from a major airport, right?
Yes.
Well, what's your major airport in State College?
Yeah.
Name it. Right. Name how. And also this, when you look at the highway, you'd be like, how easy is it to get there? Well, how straight is the highway? Look on the map. Does it look like spaghetti? Okay, that means that you're in the hills. It's going to take a minute to get there. That's State College to me is that's one of their serious disadvantages. The other one is having their great advantage and disadvantage is having James Franklin as a head coach, because James Franklin is both a really good head coach and at times not a great one, particularly if he gets into a late game scenario and we see him miscount timeouts, do weird things with the clock. As long as they kind of abduct him and just turn off his headset, he and Mario Cristobal are in that territory, right? We haven't talked about Mario, because Mario did the thing that makes everyone smarter. He got a brilliant quarterback. Like, oh man, Miami's really got this thing running. Shut up. Cam Ward has this thing running. Okay. You were doing a pretty good job with Miami. Now everyone's doing a great job because Cam's doing a great job.
Let me tell you something. In 2020, when all the players were looking at unionizing, remember when that thing happened? Anyway, when that was all going on, I talked to Javon Holland, who now plays for the Dolphins. And he was at Oregon. He sat out that season. I couldn't believe the reverence in his tone when he talked about Mario Cristobal. Like I've never heard a player talk about a coach like just in awe. There's just like the love that he had for that man and the way that he felt that man felt about him and all of those things. Mario was like, I came away from that convinced that Mario Cristobal is a great man. And the way that people say Mario can't coach, it's like that. Like around Miami when he got the job, like talk to the high school guys, they were like, yeah, damn, too bad Mario can't coach. And they were like, a man that they clearly like. But they're like, yeah, come on, dog.
This is everybody, though. Like, we can laugh about Mario Cristobal's shortcomings as the tactical head coach, right? Let's fix that. Let's get a genius. Let's get a genius who makes everybody. Let's get a Joe Burrow. Right? We don't even have to go that far back where you go, hey, let's find a guy who's so talented and put in the right place at the right time. Because Cam Ward, take away Cam Ward from these Miami Hurricanes. That's an 8-win team. A good 8-win team, maybe 9-win team, is not going to be pretty. Some of those games are going to be 20-19. Some of them might be 10-7. But that's who they're going to be. Put him there. Oh my gosh. Xavier Restrepo is an all-world receiver. Oh my gosh. That run game can get going late in games. Not always consistently throughout the game, but it can get going. But you know why? Because the defensive end has to keep an eye on that motherfucker, right? He can't, we take a guy out of the defense every time because Cam Ward might take off. So you have to do that. He makes everything better for them. Everything. And this isn't poor mouthing Miami. This isn't a backhanded compliment. It's facts. When you're Miami, you need that transcendent quarterback. You're not Ohio State. You can't just go get a Will Howard, right? Who's a different kind of transfer. That's when you go, we got an operator. You know, we have a certified forklift driver who's running this thing, and he knows how to work the machine. That's not Cam Ward. Cam Ward makes everything better.
It's pretty amazing that Miami intentionally spent like 30 years surrounding all those players with slow quarterbacks on purpose. Like that was the brand.
And now, for the first time, when they go get that dude, when they go get an absolute berserker who has, and more praise for Cam Ward here and for the transfer portal, where did he come from? The bottom. He came from Incarnate Word. And then he came from Washington State. There's only one quarterback who's played on a harder mode, and that's Diego Pavia, who came from New Mexico Military Institute, his JUCO, and then went to New Mexico State, and is now at a Power 5 or a Power 4 program, right? He's at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That's the only person who's managed a ladder that's more daunting than Cam, who Cam had to go out to like the wilds. You're talking about places in the old Pac-12 that were kind of desolate. Do you know what's around Washington State? The Palouse. He's surrounded by lentils and nothing.
I was gonna say it was around it, Idaho. That's what's around it.
Lentil
Idaho.
fields, yeah.
You mentioned like the route that those guys took. Pavia, I think it was New Mexico State that 15 years ago when I was doing the Bomani Jones, we had a story. It was either New Mexico or New Mexico State. I'm pretty sure it was New Mexico State, where them boys were so hungry that they had to put out a call to the locals to donate snacks like granola, like whatever it is, so them boys could make it through the night. Cam Ward, I am trying to imagine what it was like doing a little time in Pullman, Washington. And then they're like, how'd you like to live in Miami, fella? Sold. And he's living in
Yeah.
Miami as Cam Ward. Like living in Miami as a regular person is a real hit or miss proposition. I imagine living in Miami as Cam Ward got a lot of Ray Allen. He got game to it.
There's a lot of that. Additionally, he's made living in Miami better for everyone else. Because I know it's always good if you're a Cane. It's always good if you're a football player or an athlete in Miami. I know that's a fine life. It's got to be a little bit better when you've just been doing the same old thing as an offensive guard, right? Or as or as your third string linebacker. And then you show up one day and all of a sudden third string linebacker's looking a little more handsome. He's looking a little more successful and happy, isn't he? Isn't the punter looking a little more radiant these days? That's right. You know why? He's gotten rest because the Canes don't get off the field on offense. They just keep going.
Yes. I'm a switch gears a little bit off to college football. I'm going to ask you a question for no particular reason at all. I'm just kind of curious what your answer might be to the question that I throw out there. And this is a little tricky because I can't make it analogous to us because what I'm going to bring up, you can talk about dudes in a way. You can't really talk about women, right? Like it gets a little greasy in that department. But asking this question apropos of absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like is the worst name that can be attached to a woman in the rumor of, I heard you used to kick it with blank?
Well, I feel like we have to answer like, yeah, no, I see where you're going. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Okay. There are several
non-presidents, because one of the presidents is off the board. Non-presidents.
Okay. I was going to say, like, if we had presidents, you'd be like, oh, man, she used to kick it with Grover Cleveland. And be like, oh,
Woodrow Wilson?
What?
My God.
No, that actually, yeah, that's worse. That's way worse. At least Grover had some charisma. You're like, the worst dude ever? Woodrow Wilson?
That's what I was about to say. For the presidents, there's only a couple that I feel like you could throw out there and somebody's like,
yeah, no, I could see it. You're like Jimmy Carter. They dated in high school. He was real nice, held her hand, brought her flowers, right? That would be fine. Everyone else, though, you'd be like, oh, boy, Nixon? Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go on a date with
you
her.
might have made him get somewhere with Ike. That square jaw, all of that stuff.
Yeah, Captain All-America. Yeah, like that'd be fine. Eisenhower would be good. Lyndon Johnson, I would be like, oh, you like mess. You like a dramatic man.
That's what I was about to say. He's the one that I imagine did it. That's the one where it's like, maybe not me, the royal me, right? Mm-hmm. But I understand what happened here.
I get it. You were
I
going
know what
through
your
a lot.
type is.
Yeah, exactly. You want to take charge, man.
Yes.
Yeah. But like, you know what it is? It is. There's a great old Reductress article where it's like, is he the one or is he just tall? That might be what's happening. They're like, why did you date Lyndon Johnson? You'd be like, he's very tall. He's a very tall man. You go, oh, okay. Yeah. So the one that I was thinking, it's a curveball of an answer, right? But like if you were going, I'm interested in this person. Who did they used to date? And they go, well, they used to date Paul Reiser. And I'd be like, Paul Reiser from Mad About You? And I'll be like, yeah. And you know why? There's one thing. I watched Aliens when I was a young kid, and Paul Reiser played an evil guy so well that I actually think Paul Reiser's evil. I know Paul Reiser's probably a really nice man, okay? But to me, he's always that slime bag from Aliens and Carter, and I can't get over it. So if you would be like, yeah, I dated Paul Reiser, I'm like, oh, you're into evil men. That's not me. I'm not evil.
See, that leaves me in a trick bag, because there's one that on one hand, for somewhat obvious reasons, I would understand how a woman could wind up with him. But on the other hand, he's Stringer fucking Bell, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, all right. I know this is your Stringer thing, so I sympathize because of the Carter thing. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you another one. One from the same show. A woman I used to see many years ago. She met the actor that played Marlowe once. And at first she sent me a text about it like it was terrifying, like as it was going on, because like it seemed like it was the real Marlowe. Then when I talked to her about it later, first thing she tells me is, so he came over, we were just friends. He started talking and he asked me if I ran track. I said, he asked you if you did what? Like, yeah, he asked me if I ran track. And now I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding, right? And so she keeps talking. And then she's like, Jamie, his name is Jamie. I'm like, hell no, his name is Marlowe and he kills people.
Mm-hmm. Be like, no, so that's Marlowe. You can't do it.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, whoa. Like, all of this is, but like, I found out that you was out here kicking it with Marlo. Hey, man. I mean, but I'm like, no. But like, I just had something happen this week and this came up and I was just so floored that I had to tell people about it. And I told my brother, and like the look on his face of mortification, right?
Yeah.
Like other people who I've asked about a thing like this and they're just in denial about what has been brought before them.
I also think it would be confusing if the person was very similar to you, right? But not. Like, for instance, why would somebody date me if they had already dated Jack Black? It's just
yes.
What's the purpose? You already done that.
Yes.
Like this is the same type. You don't need that. I don't know if that's off-putting. I would just be like, I have nothing further to offer you, right? You're just running. I'm just a Xerox copy of that thing. This is like Vertigo. You're just like, wear the dress, look like her. Yeah.
Yo, I know a woman who I had met at a place, and I don't think she was flirting with me. I didn't until she married somebody that looks very much like me, that people tell me looks like me.
Yeah.
And I was like, guess I read that wrong.
Yeah, because the thing that's off-putting there is, it's not just that you thought I was a substitute for this thing that you like, and therefore I'm never the actual thing. It's that you think everyone could be that. That turns it from an individual to a global issue, right? All of a sudden you've become the football GM who's like, I need a 6'1" cornerback.
Hold on. I just thought of what the analog is, right? Like the dude that you hear and you're like, ugh. And I say this because it's really happened. We've seen it take place.
Yeah.
It's Jonathan Majors.
Oh, no.
Like,
oh, no.
When that happened, it was a lot of,
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Yeah. That'd be
really.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. Because the thing happened with my brother, and I asked him to guess, and his first guess was diddle, and I was like, nah, even worse. And then he got to the right answer, and he couldn't believe it was the right answer because it was so implausible. Like, I feel like when Jonathan Majors turned up, it was just about as implausible, especially considering the last thing we had heard from him.
So that's happened.
With Jonathan Majors?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ho. Let me send you a text, brother.
Oh, no.
The audience already knows this. I just think it's going to shock you. And if you know anything about my history, it made me be like, damn. Oh, just a little late.
Goodness. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? You remember that thing that went down with me? Yeah.
I always forget where you live. Yeah.
Yeah. A little late, apparently. A little late.
Boy, that ain't happening down here in Mayberry. Although, I will tell you, I live within driving distance of where I know several people who are famous live, right? Like it's a drive, right? And I found out that Cardi B is a geek. She's a big old nerd, okay? When she's not, doing her diva thing. And that's cool. But I was like, maybe she'll get into one of the geeky clubs or things I'm into. And then Cardi B and I could be nerd friends. And I'm like, could I handle that? And I'm like, yeah, but the problem is that I'll start talking with somebody about one of, there are people you talk to who have the special interest who 30 minutes later, you're like, I get it. You like trains. We're not talking about trains anymore. Right. Yes. The problem is that Cardi B, and we won't want to talk about how cool Cardi B is. The person will go, hey, so I hear you and Cardi B play, I don't know, pick something random, Warhammer, right? They'll be like, you and Cardi B play Warhammer. And they'll go, I'm going to get a good Cardi B story. And 20 minutes later, they're like, all we've done is talk about this nerd shit I don't care about. And I want a good Cardi B story. And I'll be like, yeah, she plays this really cool faction. They'll be like, oh God, why did I ask?
So the thing is, as someone who has seen you in your element, this could totally happen. I don't think the people listening understand how truly plausible this thing is. I once listened to Spencer at a bar explain to these two young African-American princesses about Bo going over the top in 1982, and they were enthralled.
Saying. The thing is, you're going to have to hear that story. That's how it goes.
I've seen it go. But that is Spencer Hall. Check him out at Channel 6, the best college football writer in America. My brother, I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right, Sean, did you know that story? Or I will tell you that story later if I haven't told you that story.
I did not, so I'm excited to get off air and listen to this.
Yes. We got prize picks for the people.
We sure do. NFL Sunday. I'm taking Kyle Pitts over 48.5 receiving yards against the Dallas Cowboys. Tank Dell, 4.5 receptions. I'm taking more there, given Stephon Diggs' injury. Devon Achane, 0.5 rush reception touchdowns, given Tua Tagliaova's back. Sam Laporta, 0.5 rush reception touchdowns.
Go Lions.
Lions against the Packers. I'm taking more there.
There we go. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this thing 3 times a week. Hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Go ahead and tell us your all-time great fumble. We've all fumbled before. Tell us your all-time great fumble, 323-596-7767. That's Sean, you handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember to check out our YouTube channel full of exclusive YouTube-only content. Subscribe to The Right Time. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater, and we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.